By the way, you're gonna hear my baby eating his lunch in the background. I don't know about you, but for the past few years, really since 2020, my reading has been just whatever will keep my attention. And in 2022, I want to make a point to read more diversely, read more books that I've been putting off because I felt like I didn't have the focus. This is the year that I'm getting back to reading more like myself and less just what will keep my attention through all of the chaos. Hi, welcome back. I'm Tara Swiger, and today I wanted to share my 2022 reading plans with you, the things I'm gonna read, or that I wanna read, the kind of challenges and readathons and things I hope to do in the coming year. So I can check back in on these goals at the midway point and then again at the end of the year and revisit, did I do them or not? The first thing is the Read Harder Challenge. So I did this a couple years ago and it really inspired me to try books that I would not normally pick up or by authors that I might not find on my own if I wasn't specifically looking for the challenge. And it should be said that this involves one of my most favorite hobbies, which is actually making a list of books to fit prompts. I love thinking about that. That's why I like to do readathons as well. It's because I like to pick books that fit certain challenges, that are already on my TBR or if I haven't found them yet. So the Read Harder Challenge is by Book Riot, the website Book Riot, and I will link it below. It's got 24 prompts and you can make one book work for 3 prompts if you want to, but the prompts are things to increase the diversity of what you're reading. Now I have books for almost all the prompts. There's a couple that I'm missing a book recommendation for. I will include all of the prompts below. And I was thinking about over the course of the year doing a video where I recommend multiple books for each prompt by asking for your recommendations for the prompts that I can't seem to find a book for or that I just need to know your suggestion for a book for. So the next challenge on my list is to read 20 books by Black women. Now this is a challenge started by Melanated Reader over on Instagram and I will link that down below. And it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm gonna read 20 books by Black women this year. When I look back at what I read last year, I read from different Black authors and I read by almost 70 to 80% of the books I read are by women, but it really tends to be either Black men or white women, and I'm not reading a lot of books by Black women authors. So to do that, I already have a bunch of books on my shelves. I'm gonna actually read them, like Homegoing by Ya Jessie, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This also serves as a Read Harder challenge to read a classic by a person of color. Also The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. We'll talk more about this in a minute, but this is a book that's been on my shelf that I've wanted to read. And This Long Thread by Jen Hewitt, which is a bunch of interviews and essays with crafters of color. It's so good. I've already started it. I'm about 80 pages in. And there are even more books by Black women that I want to read that are new releases, and I'll be talking about those in my most anticipated releases. But I have a Goodreads shelf where I have been collecting the books that were already on my shelf or that I'm hearing about that are coming out and putting them in a shelf called 20 Books by Black Women. So I will link to that below. You can check out the whole list there. And if you have your own suggestions, please make them. Now, I'm also joining 2 readathons, read-alongs by booktubers. And the first one is in the month of February, and it's Blackathon, hosted and created by Jessie of Bow Ties and Books. They have created a really expansive read-along that has prompts and 3 different categories, whether you like thriller and horror, which I do, or literary fiction and contemporary, or that is really the whole month of February, but then it has specific YouTube dates starting February 7th for a week. And then also Instagram challenge dates, and there's Instagram hosts, there's Netflix watch along parties. So I will be sure to link to her announcement about that below. Then the second read along is a Literally Dead book club by Kayla of Books and Lala. I've been reading along with that since it existed. She picks a book each month and she tells us a month or 2 in advance for the next 3 or 4 months. It's a mix of new releases and books that have been out for a while, so you're not always having to buy the new books. February, it is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I'm super looking forward to that. I've got it on request in my library, but it hasn't come to me yet. she reads a lot of the thriller and suspense and like crime fiction. And so that's the ones I choose to read along with. And I'll link her most recent announcement video below. But if you subscribe to Books and Lala, you'll get the update. Now, my other kind of reading challenge for myself this year is to read reread books from my childhood that I loved before my kids get to the age where they would read the books. And there's actually this shelf right here. I've been collecting books from my childhood. So that includes the Little House on the Prairie series, which I think might be outdated and problematic now. The Anne of Green Gables series, I read the entire series of books when I was 10 and 11. Also Misty of Chincoteague, The Westing Game. I loved this book so much and I haven't read it since 8th grade. The Love Comes Softly series by Jeanette Oki. I read a lot of like Christian historical romances in junior high, and this was one that I read the entire huge book series. And of course, The Babysitter's Club, which I loved so much. So I've been looking for these. Okay, Judah, shh, 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 shh. I've been looking for these at my local used bookstore and just picking them up when I found them. I actually could not wait, and I reread the first one already. It was really good. It was really, really good. So I'm looking forward to it. And look, there's a mystery one. I don't remember the mysteries, so I'm excited to read that. Personal reading challenges is to read some classics that I've missed. So Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston is one of them. And then also, these are just ones I have on my shelf. So I've never read any Hemingway, which just seems unbelievable to me. So I have a couple of his on my shelf. If you have a recommendation of where I should start, let me know. I haven't read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley or 1984 by George Orwell. I was gonna start this in 2017 and people said, no, it might be a little much for that time. So we've got a different president. I think I might be able to handle 1984. These are just books that I feel like are classics for a reason, that are involved a lot in the culture and the conversations about the culture. So after reading classics and rereading my childhood favorites, I also, this is ambitious, I realize. Last year I read 77 books, so this should work out. I also want to finish some series. So for starters, I want to start the 5th season, and if I enjoy it, I want to finish the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This is the only one I have, and I got it from the local bookstore, which is in Asheville. It's not that local. But I will finish the series if I like it. I want to read it all close together so that I get the biggest impact from the series. I also want to finish reading the books by Louise Penny, the Inspector Gamache book. She comes out with a new one every year, so I'm not gonna like finish, but I'd like to be caught up and be reading them when the new ones come out. I think that would be like fun to see everybody's reaction. As it is, I believe there are 15 or 16 and I have read 9 or 10, so I don't have that many more left to go, but I haven't picked it up since 2020. I haven't picked one up. So I have a couple on my shelf. I need to get a couple more. I wanted to own them all in the same like style because they come in hardback now. They come in paperback, and then they come in mass market paperback, which are the shorter, fatter ones. And I have like one of each of them. So I'm looking for the ones that are like this. This is my favorite size and feel on this kind of regular paperback. And I just got to find them at my used bookstore, and then I have to read the ones I have. They really do go in order. I really recommend starting at the beginning because the story, there's like an overarching story. Okay, so the last series I want to read is The Expanse series by James S.A. Corey, which is actually 2 people. And this book, there's a TV show, The Expanse, which we started watching and then stopped. In part because life got crazy and then you kind of got to focus to watch it, but also because I think I want to read the book. So they start with Leviathan Wakes, and then the last book, which I believe is book number 9, is Leviathan Falls, and I got that for Jay for Christmas because it just came out at the end of 2021, and he loved it. He loved how it ends. He was like, you definitely need to read this series. So I think I'm going to read all 9 books. They're really big. But I'm kind of waiting. I want to make sure that I first read diversely before I like dive into a 9-book series, which I will probably try to read back to back to back. maybe with just a little break in there of something else. I'm thinking this might be a summer thing, a summer or fall thing, and really hit some of my read harder challenges. I think if I get at least half of those complete, and then I will go into this series. Speaking of the read harder challenges, let me share some of the ones that I need help finding a book for. So one of the prompts is to read a romance where at least one of the protagonists is over 40. Now, I don't really like a straight romance book, and especially not one that's all steamy. So if you have a suggestion where it's a book that there is a romance in it and the protagonist is over 40, please let me know. One is read an adventure story by a BIPOC author, so Black, Indigenous, person of color author, an adventure story. Now, I am pretty sure that this counts as an adventure story, and really anything counts that we want to count. I also found one about a Black man who walked the Appalachian Trail, and it's like his story. Another one that I was having a hard time with is to read a book recommended by a friend who has different reading tastes. So for that one, I'm actually going to rely on you to recommend a book to me. I'll read one of the books y'all recommend in the comments. Read a book by a disabled author. I was thinking about that, to read The Collected Schizophrenia by Esme Wang. Her disability is chronic pain and schizophrenia. And then also this is the other one I need help with, read a history about a period you know little about. Now, for this book I have on my list How the Word is Passed, but I wouldn't necessarily say the Civil War is in a period of time I don't know a lot about. There's a lot other period of time that I know even less about. So if you have a suggestion for a well-written, easy to read nonfiction book that's history of a time I know little about, there are whole swaths of time I know nothing about. So that is it. Those are my reading kind of plans, goals. I will check in 6 months and let you know around June, July how it's going, what read harder challenges I've marked off, how many books by Black women I've read, also if I've done any of my rereading childhood classics or my series. Do tell me in the comments if you would like to do a read along for any of the series I mentioned, for Broken Earth, for Leviathan Wakes / The Expanse series, or for the Louise Penny books. I am open to organizing it, doing read-alongs, doing setting some dates for us. You let me know when and what you like, and we could do that together. That'd be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, for supporting my channel. Thank you for being a patron. I so appreciate it. Hope you are having a fantastic month. I'll talk to you later. Bye.